It's Queen with Soft Eye Boutique here to do an update video on why I said a total Asian boycott is impossible. And I am standing on what I said in my first video. I don't care how people feel. A boycott is just that, a boycott. As far as, you know, I, they're talking about this is not like the bus boycott that we had here in Louisiana. Actually, the bus boycotts happen all over. It just started here in Louisiana. So I am talking about the majority of consumer goods and products, distribution and manufacturing that the United States of America, the government, private businesses, engages in international business and trade with China. Okay? So the majority of our consumer goods, the majority of our distribution channels, the majority of our manufacturers and production centers are located in the country of China. China is an Asian country. I'm not sure how, what other way I can make that, simplify that for y'all. So I get what people are saying as far as boycotting, Asian businesses. Like, you walk in and you can clearly see that an Asian person owns it because there's an Asian person behind the counter. Whether it's a beauty supply store, whether it's a nail salon, or whether it's a restaurant. Okay? I get what y'all are saying, but the reality is, and I'm going to reiterate this, even if you're going to, whether a Middle Eastern owns this beauty supply store, because here where I am in Baton Rouge, it's a lot of Middle Easterns that own beauty supply stores now. In the past, it was Asian. So even if I was to go into a Middle Eastern owned beauty supply store here in Baton Rouge, that and buy the hair, which I don't wear human hair weave. I haven't worn human hair weave since 2009. That human hair weave still come from an Asian country, some type of Asian country. Those cheap products that they selling us still comes from an Asian country, and 8.5 times out of 10 it comes from China. And Chinese people are Asian people. So you are not boycotting Asian businesses just because the front-facing person of that business is not an Asian. The business is still funneled through Asian countries. It's still backed by Asian people. Like, I don't understand why people are getting in their feelings about the truth. Like, I get what y'all saying, like, oh, we're not gonna go here, we're not gonna go there. But okay, even if you go to a white owned store, even if you go to a black owned store, 8.5 times out of 10, if you look on the back of that product that you purchasing, it's going to say made in China. Like, just get out your feelings real quick and just really start paying attention to where things are manufactured and produced and distributed from. Okay? So no, and I said, the damn caption says a total Asian boycott it says total. So when black folks are talking about boycotting these Asian businesses, they are talking about a total blackout of Asian businesses. Okay? Right? Like, come on. Like, y'all really need to get out y'all feelings with this and accept the fact that the United States of America, because so many things have been outsourced for so long, we barely have any distribution, production, and manufacturing channels anymore. And that's just for the United States of America. I'm not even talking about in the black community. The average black, the majority of black American people who are descendants of slavery, whether you are descendant, whether you call yourself ADOS, whether you call yourself black indigenous, whether you call yourself foundational black American, or whether you say that you are a free black person, you do not have an international trade route with any other nation. You don't have it. Like, I'm not about to sit up here and argue back and forth with people. That's why I make these videos. That's why I'm very curt and short in my comments, because I argue for a living. I don't do this little internet stuff that y'all be doing. Like, I argue in front of the state Supreme Court and I win. I studied international law. I studied international trade. I've gone to other countries and engaged in talks about international law and international trade and global law and global business. The average black person, no matter what rung of the ladder they are on the socioeconomic ladder, right? They do not have that direct line to conduct an international business and trade. Right? We just don't have it. So even if we were to have our own black-owned businesses and we're still selling things from black-owned businesses, okay, you probably can get away with the food if you're going around, to farmers and stuff, and you're saying, oh, well, you only want to get, your produce and your meats and all of these things from United States farmers, right? You probably can get away with that, but that's still hard too. But once you start going into things like beauty supplies, clothing, all of that, no, you're going to have a trade line with these Asian companies. And it's still Asian businesses. Like, you're still doing business with Asians. Like, come on. And let's get the business clear. Where people was talking about the Asian boycott, they're talking about the beauty supply stores, they're talking about the nail shops, they're talking about the gas stations and the convenience stores. That's what they're talking about. And it's really sad because, look, I try not to do, you should never been shopping there and woo blase, because there was a time where I used to wear human hair weave. And before I realized the truth, there was a time when I would go to those shops to get my nails and my feet done. Okay? And I came to the realization in 2009, I don't need to do this because I'm engaging in self-hate. I'm trying to be other than my own self by putting the hair that grew out of somebody else's scalp into my head. Right? I had to reckon with that. Why am I going to people in self-care, getting a mani and a pedi, and these people talking in a language that I don't know? They could be saying anything over me. I don't know. And really, to be honest, if you Christian, you shouldn't even be going into those places anyway, because when you walk past them places, you're walking past a Buddhist or whatever type of polytheistic shrine that they have, and they have the right to their religious beliefs. They have that right. But y'all want to talk about witchcraft this, witchcraft that, and you going into the sanctuary, the so-called house of the Lord, with human hair in your head. I know this taking a turn, but this is really serious. This is the depth of it, when I need black people to really understand and really realize the insanity of calling for certain things. This is not like saying transportation, right? Like the bus boycotts, as far as the right to public transportation. That has nothing to do with self-hate. Okay? The businesses shouldn't even, the beauty supply store is in your community because you hate yourself. You hate the hair that grows out of your scalp. You hate your skin. Okay? You hate all this stuff, and you're trying to look other than your own self. So those particular businesses are there because of self-hate. right? I get it. Maybe sometimes, depending on where you at, the grocery stores, the convenience stores, all this type of stuff. Yeah, okay, that may be a situation, right? But this is not what people are talking about. This is something that they're saying that needs to be done nationwide throughout the United States of America. And I'm telling y'all, it is not going to happen on the level that they want it to happen until we start having our own diplomatic relations with other countries and other nations and having our own trade routes and trade lines. And I need to also reiterate as well, there was nothing in that first video that I said that I'm still going shopping at some Asian business. I don't have to sit up here and nobody needs to tell me to not go to no Asian business, because 9.5 times out of 10, I wasn't going there anyway. And it really had nothing to do with Asian people. It's the fact that the way that I live my life and the products that I buy and how I consume my consumer purchases, most of those products that I buy, they are not going to come from an Asian nation. They're just not. And it's a very difficult life. Like, really, I'm serious. I'm serious, and I'm just going to erase I'm going to leave the comments up there for people being silly, right? So I'm very serious about what I'm saying. When you really intentionally living a righteous life as a black person, whether you're saying you black indigenous, you foundational black American, you're an American descendant of slavery, or you're a free, you always came from the free people, right? When you're living a true, natural, righteous life, energetically and spiritually, your consumer purchases are going to align with that. Like, it's going to align with it. And I don't know what else to tell you all. So me not really supporting Asian businesses for years really has nothing to do with what's going on now, even though I'm well aware that black people have no allies. It's just because I chose to radically say, you know what, no matter what the outside is saying, the community around me is saying, I'm going to choose to love myself in my natural state, the way that I'm made. Yes, I wear like jewelry and, fabrics and things of that nature. Like, I try to purchase as many natural fabrics as I can, or close to natural as possible as I can. And the majority of that is not coming from China. Right. And even if you go deeper, I have a video on my page that I did a long time ago, because I talk about menstrual hygiene and menstrual products, pads, tampons, and everything on this page. There's a lot of menstrual products that come out of China that are manufactured in China. So I'm sitting in my car. I probably shouldn't be sitting in my car without the air off, because it's like almost 100 degrees here in Louisiana. But y'all need to grow up, realize what's going on, understand, get out your feelings about where we are in this particular space and time, and accept the fact that we don't have no freaking international trade lines. Like, I really wish people will really understand that. So you can call for this, you can call for that, but until all these other people, all these other races of people, they have direct lines to their countries which have governments, right, that are real nations. And it's not just some black power people walking around, claiming that they're nations and they're not really a nation, right? So these other races of people, they can pick up the phone and get what they need from their other countries. Make no mistake about it. And black folks in the United States of America, I'm not talking about y'all know who I'm talking about when I say that, so I'm not going to clarify that. There's no country that we can pick up the phone and call and we have a direct line, trade line with. A distribution line, a manufacturing line, so we can skirt around all of this. We are going to almost always have to go through another race to get what we need. So people need to be mindful when they're saying this do for self. It's not as easy as people think it is. And it's not as simple as people think it is. So it's going on 15 minutes. It's hot as hell. So let me get off here. Queen with Soft Eye Boutique.